How do you get a dog to stop humping your leg? It's been 5 months. Can you remember what it was?
Throw it into a pit?
Pick it up and suck its cock.
That's right. I remember.
Okay, so bit of context, guys. We filmed Creature from the Pit in January, and we lost all of the Tascam audio.
Yep.
And the first half of the footage up to episode 3.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we have lost the reaction for that portion, and we've lost the intro. So we're refilming the intro so that you don't just go in all confused. But unfortunately, this means that you're not going to have the reaction for episodes 1 and 2, which sucks because some of that was really funny.
Yeah, it was really good.
Especially the bit where the doctor pulls out his book and then puts it back and then pulls out another one.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And some of the direction as well was really good in that. But
yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't have that anymore, but there's not much we can do about it. We can't travel back in time and get it.
No, not yet, at least.
If anyone out there wants to make a reconstruction of it somehow, you're welcome to. You're welcome to. But yeah. So we will try not to do that again.
Yeah, we'll do our best.
Yeah.
We're not entirely sure.
One of the consequences was that we used to use Tony's laptop to transfer files, but we didn't have his laptop available at the time.
Yeah.
Because of his university stuff. And there was also another instance with the Nightmare of Eden one where I didn't bring my hard drive. That's my fault. So we lost the video for that. We only had the audio.
Yeah. Did that come out? Yes.
Yeah, it did. But yeah, that's just it's a bit of backstory on what happened. It was very frustrating. We all got very angry about it.
Yeah, because Creature from the... Honestly, what is not there is some of the best stuff we've filmed, I feel.
Yeah, it was...
It's the way it is.
I think also because it was also one of those things that we went in with absolutely low expectations.
Yeah.
Because same writer as The Leisure Hive.
Yeah.
Infamous story as well.
Yeah.
And we actually quite enjoyed it.
I think... Well, you've got beyond episode 3, eh?
I've got 3 onwards.
Yeah, so people will know that we ended up being quite liking it.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
Spoilers for the video that this is going to be in.
Well, let's put it this way.
Yeah.
If they had watched episodes 1 and 2 of our reaction,
Yeah.
they would know by the time that it's going to cut to episode 3.
True.
So
we're just filling in the details for you.
Yeah, filling in the details. But yes. So spoilers to anyone who hasn't seen all of New Who, because we like to discuss New Who during these videos, because that's always fun.
Mm-hmm. And it never riles anyone up.
No. Time waste. Remember to comment. So if you think there's a story you think is worse than Hellbent from New Who that we haven't already defended, put it in the comments and leave a paragraph as to why you think it is, so we can address you fairly.
And open a conversation about it.
And also, if there's anything you want us to add to this list of episodes for Worst of Classic Who, then let us know. Bear in mind, nothing from seasons 1 to 5 or 12 to 14 will be on it, because I've seen all of those and they're all better than Hellbent. Although I haven't seen The Wheel in Space, but I'm going to leave that because I know, and it'll be... We're sort of filming this and the Macroterror at the same time.
Yeah.
The Wheel in Space special features on this DVD has an animation.
Oh, wow.
Which we're going to be watching after we watch the Macroterror. So I've got a strong feeling that at some point it's going to be animated in full.
Yeah.
So I think it would be best to wait for that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, even though people say it's the weakest 60s Cyberman story, I'm sure it's not as bad as Hellbent. Like, there's most people... I don't even think most people who hate Hellbent would even say Wheel in Space is close.
No, yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, if you want to add us to add anything to this list that I haven't seen, then go right ahead and suggest it, and I will take it into consideration. And don't be like one of those people that's like, oh, put Genesis of the Daleks on there. I'm like, you just don't do that. Patreon.com/Genesis of Androzani. If you'd like to contribute to the channel, we've got multiple tiers, such as the $5 timey-wimey tier, which allows you early access to videos, as well as the $10 master tier, which allows you to request videos for us to do. And there's sometimes exclusive videos on there, such as commentaries, and I'm sure more stuff will come eventually. And twitter.com/Giandrazzani if you'd like to get in contact with us, or just sometimes I just post stuff. Quite often it'll be me commenting on someone else's tweets more than me posting stuff.
Stirring people up.
Yeah. Today I did, because there's I can't remember which, because there's a whole bunch of Doctor Who Twitter accounts. I can't remember which one it was. It might have been the Who Society, it might have been just the other one that I see a lot. Each day they were saying, oh, what do you think of this Doctor? Anything you like or dislike? And they were doing it for all the days. And today it was Jodie, and I just wrote the worst Doctor, full stop. That's all I wrote.
It's not her fault. Oh,
but
But
the character is the worst Doctor
so far. Yeah.
Yep. Anything else before we cut to our recording of A Creature from the Pit from months ago?
Space fellatio.
Yes. So let's travel back in time 5 months.
Here it comes.
Yeah, that's not so bad now, is it? Good girl.
I didn't realise I had all this build up.
Hello. I am the Doctor. Friend. Hello. I am the Doctor. Friend.
It's turning into a woolly. Okay.
How are we going to talk to each other, eh?
Not through its cock.
Can't we talk to each other?
If that had been Jodie's Doctor, that the show would have gone next. Showing like a woman do that.
Oh yeah.
I like how Tom Baker's Doctor has finally found something more alien than him.
Yeah. Because I imagine in the writer's mind, this creature was like horrible and slimy, instead of looking like one of those, sheets of papers in primary school.
Celestial circumstances of his birth.
I'm closing my eyes and picturing William Hartnell.
Oh, about 700.
I've already know the celestial toy maker.
Why haven't you died?
Well, sorry, my lady, it was an oversight. I stand corrected.
She's wearing the old
That's-
NWA
Come on.
belt.
Don't worry, my dear. Do your best.
That is what I am programmed to do, mistress.
Kill the creature. You understand, Romana? Kill it. I understand.
The material is too strong. I am in danger of depleting my power packs.
Why has the animal stopped? Because if you want to kill the creature, K9 must have something weakened. The atoms
I may be
combine,
able to
the
break through
molecules
this door, but it's
reconstitute
not the
themselves to
Jedi
form an
way.
even stronger material.
Mistress.
You must think.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's a brilliant way to end that subplot.
I demand you tell me how you broke the
One of the best things about Light at the End, the 50th anniversary Big Finish audio, is the fact that they pair up Paul McGann with Tom Baker. It's a great combo. They work really well together.
Unexpected combo as well, because they're quite different.
Yeah, well that's what makes it work.
But if you think about it,
Conserve my energy.
Tennant is kind of halfway between those two Doctors.
Oh, absolutely. The best elements of McGann and the best elements of Baker pulled into one. Yet those individual, it's hard. As a whole, Tennant is much better, I think. But when it comes to the Dark Time Lord stuff, don't think he's anywhere near as good as McGann. McGann, like, frightens me.
And when you talk about like quirky alienness,
Yeah.
there's nowhere near as good as Tom Baker.
Yeah,
But
as a whole.
because he has such a great combination of all the Doctor's
Yeah.
best assets.
Yeah, and also because David Tennant is immensely charismatic and Russell is a brilliant showrunner.
Yeah.
He is. Whether
Ready, go.
you think so or not, he is. It is an objective fact.
Yeah. His worst series is very good.
Bigger than monsters.
I wonder what
This
side
series
you're
is
on.
fun.
What a pity you didn't bring your charge. You could have worked it out for yourself. What is it? The dressed as evil eyes of...
I'm quoting you. You did say it was very good in the video.
Yeah, it is very good, but like...
For a long time.
I didn't say great, I said very good.
Yeah, it's possible. It's fine.
Possible.
That's a big cave. It was in there.
It is good. It
You
is
should have
good.
heard something by now.
Have you forgotten what stories are in that season?
Ah, no.
Fear her, love
Oh, no.
monsters.
You'll go.
Love and Monsters.
You were.
Yes, you.
US, yeah, not
Go down to
really.
the passage, into the cave.
Impossible
and come
Planet
back and
Satan
tell us what
Pit,
you
Rise
see.
of the Siamese Age of Steel, Army Ghosts and Doomsday, School Reunion, Girl in the Fireplace. Christmas Invasion's really fun
If
too.
you don't go, my friend.
Yeah, it's
that
good.
car
It's very
standing
good,
behind
as
you
I said.
will cut your
And
throat
Tooth and
from
Claw's
ear
pretty
to
fun
ear.
too.
Tooth and Claw, yeah. Every time I watch it, I enjoy it more.
Yeah.
I don't think astrology
You should probably watch this.
Sorry.
Just realised we just...
Take the girl,
To be
tin
fair,
animal,
this is
and some
a bit
guards.
of padding.
Go down into the pit.
She'll refuse, you know. Won't you,
I love
Ramon?
how hammy this
Then
woman
Corella
is.
will kill her.
She's incredibly entertaining.
She's matching Tom Baker.
Yeah.
Doctor, I can't do anything about my hair if I'm holding K9.
Oh, so you are. I didn't notice. Here, let me help you. K9, ready? Fire!
No, don't kill her off. No, she's the best side character.
Don't let it get me! You mustn't let that thing get me! It'll kill me!
She's so hammy.
Give me the old fella.
I like how Tom Baker sees her as the enemy and not the creature.
Yeah.
Get away! Or the doctor dies!
Renosianaki dog.
Whoa! That visual. Are you confused?
They put the tablet on the creature and she started screaming.
Yeah.
Of course! And she knows what the creature is, and she wants it dead. And the doctor's like, no, 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 not having that. The creature is our friend.
Yeah.
And then she held the doctor at knife point. The end. I gotta say, my favourite thing of that episode was the fact that the entire motivating through line in this episode was Romana and her and the people she was with and the lady and the old man was to break through this wall. And they were trying and then they thought they found a solution and the doctor just thrust in the other way.
It reminds me of Dave the Doctor.
Exactly what I was thinking, yeah.
Moffat stole from Creature from the Pit.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello. What did you say?
Ah, you can communicate with it now.
Oh,
Some in the hands.
that thing was on her wall. She'd removed its voice.
What do you mean?
I realize this must be a very frightening experience for you, but please don't be alarmed.
What are you talking about?
Tom Baker is the voice of the creature.
Ask its name.
That's a cool
My
concept.
name is Erato.
Fools!
You listen to the opinions of an electric dog?
Typhonians exist on ingesting chlorophyll. Large, she's tipped the ambassador into a pit and threw astrologers at him. It's true, my friend.
It's a pack of lies. Intelligent people to
You know what this is very similar to?
What?
Listen,
Midnight.
why don't you come over here?
They are standing in a room talking for a very long time.
Yeah.
What?
Yet somehow it's engaging.
Don't talk that rubbish. Huntsman,
It's like a stage play.
I order you to kill the doctor.
Oh my god! She's getting tumbleweeded. Squashed by the creature. Oh!
I totally thought she was flat.
Nah.
Yes.
He slowned me.
I witnessed died the dark ages for
They're
this
making
planet.
another Ghostbusters.
Yeah, but it's not the...
No, but still, the fact
I'm
that
sorry.
there's another one at all.
Yeah, but it's completely.
Supposedly Ghostbusters 3.
Yeah.
Done by Jason Reitman, who's the son of the original director Ivan, who's done a lot of really good films.
Yeah,
so.
apparently, like the one that came out a few years ago is not canon anymore for obvious reasons.
Thank you, Doctor.
None of the political stuff. Worst of all, it wasn't funny.
He was going to let me die. Address the token.
It's like Melissa McCarthy falls out a
If he
window.
didn't order that dog thing,
That's
you
those
should get
are
out.
the they're operating.
It's funny!
Whereas the original Ghostbusters was clever characters who had this wit, this sardonic sense of humour,
Yeah.
Very
funny
good.
lines, and the
Nice
fact
to
that
hear
it was
this planet may not
the
have a
film,
chance to
the
prosper.
premise
She
was
was going to
young,
kill me.
well, not young guys, but guys in the middle
I did, and I discovered I was going to die in
starting a business. It just happened to be a ghost fighting business.
Reporting, Master.
Can I?
Right into his hands, you've let him go.
Yes.
Well, can't you say anything but yes the whole time?
Yes. Yes.
Without that segment, Erato can't leave the planet.
Exactly. Once he guarantees Cloris' safety, we let him have it back and then negotiate a proper treaty.
And Cloris gets all the metal it needs.
Yes.
So much cool cinematography.
Oh, the middle one looked at the camera twice.
Did you see that chest on the table? It looked exactly like the chest that the master sperm came out of in the movie.
Yes, I know.
You know when it broke open and the goo came out?
Yeah.
It looked exactly the same.
Oh, thank you.
That would be a deep cut if they just went to the BBC's prop room and were like, was this used in a random episode of Doctor Who?
Alright.
Like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. Oh, it's behind that big golden vase thing.
Romana, take the communicator.
But it has passed beyond.
Oh, get on with it.
I'm
get
afraid I
on
have
with
only
it.
24 hours to live.
Use your aggressive nature.
I came as an ambassador to buy.
Is this like leading to the series 4 finale?
Yeah, it feels like it.
Something's happening with the stars.
Go on.
I'm sorry for the loss.
If you will excuse me, I will leave now. I have no wish to witness this distressing finale.
But your machine is in pieces.
That's what I said to Chibnall.
It won't take long to spin up a new ship around the vital components.
How long?
This idea is madness, Doctor.
We'll minimize its gravitational pull and we can yank it back out of the sun's field.
And how do you propose to do this yanking, Doctor?
Oh, the TARDIS. We can exert short bursts of enormous gravitational pull on the star, slow it up while you weave your eggshell around it, and then let go.
And the thing will go
What
straight
the
on.
hell?
Oh my
I
god!
remind you, Doctor, that I came here
Jenny's
to...
in.
Stephen and Russell stole from this story.
15 years.
If anyone argues that in Journey's End the TARDIS can't fall the Earth,
Here, good girl, Romana.
In short,
there's your continuity.
yeah. I'm wondering where this episode's going to go, because it's probably only got 5-6 minutes at least.
It's a very strange part 4, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we've already had the main villain die.
It feels like part 1 of the new story.
Strange, isn't it? I mean, I guess we gotta find out what happens to the creature
Yeah.
and to these guys who are stealing.
There's another 6 inches to add to your collection, Poverty.
This is Valerian
That piece
steel.
of shell, all this metal is just worth
God,
the
she's
scrap.
wrinkly, eh?
I have that
What happens
piece
when
of
you get
shell
old?
hidden. I think that
Your
gives us an
fucking
interesting
leather
place.
couch.
If it's hidden, what's to stop us killing you and letting it stay hidden?
This is very similar to that storyline with Tyrion meets the Mountain Men.
Yes! I know George R. R. Martin's a fan of like sci-fi and stuff, but I don't know if he
Clovis' son will explode. How does that feel? Still want to be scrap iron?
Apparently the Tom Baker era was quite a hit in the US. Not as much as New Who, but out of the whole classic Who, this one got a bit of exposure.
It's probably why Tom Baker's the most iconic Doctor. Because in England, William Hart was probably a very iconic figure. Like Patrick Troughton, William Hart, they're all iconic
But I think
figures.
Tom Baker actually got some overseas exposure as well.
Yeah, in America, you think of who's the most famous classic Doctor, they'd go Tom Baker.
Tom Baker.
Or if they don't know the show, they'll be like the one with the scarf.
Yeah.
I can hear you, Doctor.
Good boy, K9.
Preparing for takeoff.
Doctor,
Doctor, I've been calculating our chances of success.
I don't want to hear them.
They rise.
Never told me the
Dematerialize.
You're not actually flying into an asteroid field. You're crazy enough to follow him, wouldn't you? She's starting to come on.
Strain on the
Pull it out of
TARDIS.
its orbit. So
That reminds me, there's an episode of Thunderbirds called Sunprobe, where Thunderbird 3 has to pull a rocket away
that's
from the
right.
sun.
Yeah. I remember
Yeah,
that.
run through that. Jesus Christ. Oh. I don't have enough companions. Pulling the sun towards them.
That's cool. Go, Doctor.
Legend.
Now, I did calculate our chances of success at 74,384,338 to 1 against.
What? That's extraordinary.
Why?
That's my lucky number. Dark. And dark. And handsome. Yes, I know. Organ up dark.
I love how that
Treaty.
I love how that was written. Treaty of Waitangi.
It's a draft.
I love how the big green blob wrote that. What a charming story.
Yeah, very charming.
Right, guess we get to the review then.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right,
Yes.
Adam, what
That's
was
me.
your initial reaction to the creature from the pit?
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was harmless. As you said during the reaction, it was kind of one you could put on during a rainy day and just sort of be entertained, take it
Yeah.
away to this sort of weird fantasy world. It's got a very cozy feel.
Yeah. I think I like this more than Nightmare of Eden, actually.
Oh yeah, much more.
Yeah.
Much more.
Yeah.
Literally, I think this episode is only infamous because of the dick monster. But that was pretty much featured only in a couple of scenes, and as soon as I got the communication disc, it went away.
I like the story behind it too.
Yeah, the actual story is great. It's just the design.
I genuinely like this story.
Same, yeah.
I think it's fun. And one aspect of it that I really liked was the Doctor.
Yes.
I thought Tom Baker was very good in this.
It was very, very good. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
He was alien, but as you pointed out, he found something more alien than him, so he became very compassionate. Like often you'll see him be compassionate to a point, but in this there was a deep sense of empathy that he had, which was kind of unlike him typically, because normally he's so disassociated from reality that he just kind of has his own thing.
Yeah.
With this, he felt very genuine and,
Yeah.
for lack of a better term, down to earth and.
Yeah.
In it, he was very into.
Down to Gallifrey.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I really liked Tom Baker in this. I thought he was on top form.
Yes, I agree.
Very funny, very doctorish, and very good in the story. Yeah. And Romana.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Though, as you pointed out, and maybe in the trivia, that this may have been a story written for Romana 1. In the first couple of episodes, it showed, but Lila Ward is such a good actress that it doesn't feel incongruous with this version of
She managed to
Romana.
put her own twist on it.
It still felt like Romana, but the fact that she was authoritative without it seeming forced. She was just very intelligent and played all these people like a fiddle and was brave and she was, you know, kept moving forward and kept the story going. There was always a pace around her. She
Yeah.
was,
I found her as interesting as the Doctor.
well, as we pointed out, she kind of plays the Doctor role
Yeah.
in this story, and the Doctor, on the flip side of that, is for most of it's kind of the damsel in distress.
Yeah.
Up until the last episode.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they did really well in this.
Yeah.
But what about K9?
Fuck K9.
Yeah.
He wasn't hugely annoying.
He was a bit of a plot device, wasn't he?
That's all he ever is.
Yeah. He's he's basically like a sonic screwdriver.
Really annoying. Yeah,
but that can talk.
Yeah, it was very annoying. It's if the screwdriver had a voice.
Yeah, and he kind of makes the story cut corners a bit.
Yes, but without it, because this episode's not particularly. I mean, there are political subtexts to it, like there are to any Doctor Who story.
Yeah.
It's not like an overtly political or war-driven story or dark or miserable story. So the plot moving along in that kind of efficient way didn't seem so cheap.
Yeah.
Because it was such an amusing episode. That being said, well, we'll get to it when we get to the direction and stuff, but tonally it was pretty consistent and the jokes never seemed to undercut when it was supposed to be tense. It seemed to be written very balanced and very well.
Flowed really nicely. But yeah, no, K9 he's just a bit
shit.
Yeah. He wasn't overused though, which was good.
No. He's not like Jodie Sonic.
Yeah, no. He wasn't too egregious. Adresta, who was this character.
Fantastic.
She was one of the highlights.
She was hamming it up, and I mean that as a full compliment.
Yeah.
She was so entertaining.
Hamming it up in an era where that's a good thing.
She fit perfectly in that. There we go. She fit perfectly in the tone of this story.
Yeah.
And she bounced off Tom Baker, and more specifically because she spent most of her time with Lila Ward. There was a really good chemistry and not camaraderie, but as I said, chemistry.
Yeah.
Between these two actresses, and it was really, really good.
Yeah, she was strong, very strong.
Because the thing is, it's not going to win any awards, the performance, but it's so captivating.
Yeah.
It's so entertaining.
What I liked about her, she sort of did the Colin Baker thing of you're in your own story.
Yeah. And
you are the main character of your own story.
Yeah.
And that makes it feel more big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She had that stage actor thing.
Yeah, she was fantastic. Really bounced off all the characters really well.
Yeah, and she was written well as well.
Yeah. And she had a cool death too. The fact she got killed by the creature. Yeah.
Pinned down by her own little subservient grass thingies, weed thingies.
Yeah.
And then got crushed by the creature.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Organon.
That guy should have played the first Doctor in
the Five Doctors, yeah.
He was quite amusing. He had chemistry. He had a phenomenal chemistry with Tom Baker on screen. They bounced off each other really well. There was just this sort of genuine charm that came off both of them, and they brought each other up. The fact that he played the slightly doddery, soothsayer and star reader, it was such a weird, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Didn't play a huge factor into the story, but he was an interesting and fun character, and he could have been annoying if it wasn't for such a charming performance by that actor. No, really, really, really enjoyed him.
Yeah, so did I. Again, just another good character, another good performance. Bounced off Tom Baker really well. He helped with the exposition of explaining where the creature came from and why it's there. And I loved there was a line where he said that he was surviving off the scraps they were feeding the creature.
Yeah.
That was really cool. Carella.
Subservient sub-boss.
Yeah.
She didn't have much to do. She was, fine in the sense she had, but especially when she's with that other character.
She had good, unlikable menace to her.
Yeah, she was a legitimately unlikable villain, but the thing is she was kind of overshadowed because she was more understated than all these wonderfully over-the-top actors around her.
Yeah.
Yeah, including the previous two we just mentioned.
Yeah. The Huntsman.
Fine. He had about 6 lines. I liked his hand acting. In the shot just before the Doctor in the first episode went down the well, there's a K9's in the foreground trapped and the Minor and the Doctor are walking back towards the guards and his hands are in the bottom left of frame just going
Yeah. I think the highlight for him in this story was when he turned on Adresta.
Yeah, and he stood up for himself and he said, "No, we've got to listen." Because blah blah blah. No, yeah, it was good.
Yeah. sort of led a mini revolution, if you will.
Yeah.
But I liked him. I loved his costume.
Oh yeah, his costume was cool.
It looked great. Toland. I can't remember who this was.
He's the guy. No. He was the Queen's advisor.
Yeah.
He was in one scene.
Yeah. Torvin.
He was fun.
And also all the other
Scavengers. They were fun. They were funny.
Yeah.
They had quite a few funny lines. Because what was it? There was a line where he said, "What is it?" "Well, I know what it is. It's metal." That made me laugh.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the fact that their story was ended by K9 blowing up their metal was a little bit disappointing, but it was still amusing.
Yeah, often these kinds of sub-stories, they'll have an end goal where they'll play a part.
Yeah.
But often it kind of like there's a lot of padding and unnecessary filling.
I almost feel like it felt a bit unnatural because it felt like the big story ended before the little story.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
And it was kind of strange because technically, like, the ending was really rushed, but it was still a good ending.
Yeah.
It just could have done with being like the whole episode be about the star.
Yeah.
About the shooting star.
Yeah. Yeah. And the creature.
Cool. The design obviously was very comical.
Yeah.
But the actual story around the creature was really interesting.
That was
the
really
fact
cool.
the fact that this big mindless blob was just an ambassador.
Yeah.
Very cool. A trade ambassador.
Yeah.
A diplomat.
And he is so eloquent with his speech. Like this big green blob can write like this letter with calligraphy. And
it's fantastic.
Oh.
That is an inherently comic idea.
I think this episode had perfect comedic tone.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before in terms of it never undercut the tension.
Unlike Nightmare of Eden.
Yeah, where it was uneven.
Yeah.
This was even in its comedy.
Yeah.
Worked really well.
Yeah. Any other side characters?
I'm sure I'll think of
I guess there was just the guards and they were just there.
Yeah, just the guards.
Yeah.
No, I think we covered it.
Yeah. And the plot?
Fun. It unravelled in a natural and fun way. And the villain was so engaging. Like, the fact that Romana constantly was in different environments. She started with the scavengers, who then tied into the plot later.
Yeah.
And she got captured by the Queen, and she was working with the Queen. And then the Doctor and her and the Queen reunited.
Yeah.
And moved forward. The plot was a bit of padding in the middle, but that's usually the case with these four-part stories. But on the whole, it was paced really well, I think.
Yeah, I think it was...
It was evenly spread, whereas a lot of these episodes tend to be like nothing, a shit ton, and then it becomes a mess.
Yeah.
Leisure Hive, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
Where there's nothing for the first two and a half episodes, and then the last half of the third episode's really entertaining, then the fourth episode's garbage.
Yeah.
Whereas this
it's funny because it's by the same writer.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
But it's more of an even spread in this one.
Yeah, I thought that this was a very interesting plot. I like just... my favourite thing about this, because the Tom Baker era is so long and so beefy, and the majority of it is on alien planets.
Yeah.
I love how you can just get lost and not have to... Like, it's
you
kind
don't
of...
have to think...
It's almost... Even though I love it, it's almost the opposite of what Russell did.
Yeah.
And Chibnall, where literally... barely any of it's on Earth, and in fact the Doctor and Romana aren't even from Earth.
Well, by that token, it's the opposite of the Pertwee era.
Yeah, there you go. And it's so just... you just get lost in these alien environments. They're going on these adventures, you know?
And this is no exception to that.
Yeah.
In fact, it's a very, very fun one. I don't get why this is often considered a bad story.
I think it's just the creature.
Yeah, just because of that funny oral
It's
moment.
just the creature.
Yeah.
People just... It's like how... it's some stories get hated for one or two things rather than the story as a whole. And
don't use Love and Monsters as a comparison because that's
came to mind, but I'm not going to use that as an example. But
because there's more problems than just. In fact, the Absorbal offers the highlight of that episode.
I think the entire thing is a highlight. What was I going to say? I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but there are a lot of stories where people will blame the entire thing on one aspect,
yeah.
and I think this is one of them.
Adam Mitchell.
Yeah, there you go. Adam Mitchell in
long
Dalek,
game.
in the long game in Dalek, yeah. But then again, I think the long game has a couple of small issues with it.
It does. It's more of a messy episode,
Yeah.
messy story than this.
But specifically Dalek, he's literally the only thing that could be considered a negative,
yeah,
because everything else is perfect.
yeah. Poor Rob Shearman having to write that. Fucker.
Yeah.
And also, there's a comment saying how Adam got redeemed in the comics. No. Go watch Day 2 of the Advent Calendar. I have words about that. It is unearned.
Yep.
Adam Mitchell is a prick.
Yeah, it is ranked 211. It is way below Nightmare of Eden, apparently.
Wrong.
Yeah. It is below Night Terrors. It is below the Rebel Flash.
Wrong.
It is below the Beast Below.
Wrong.
Interestingly, quite in a lot of ways, it's actually slightly not as political, but slightly similar in the sense that there is this big beast. It is below Victory of the Daleks. It is below the Smugglers. It is below the Invisible Enemy. It is below the Savages. It is below Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS.
Wrong.
It is below Nightmare in Silver.
Wrong.
It is below a whole bunch of stories on the list.
Probably wrong.
Yeah. And a lot of the stuff below it is on the list too.
Probably right.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That it's that low.
I don't get it. I do not get it.
I don't understand. I don't understand how someone could be more entertained by the Smugglers than the Creature from the Pit.
Yeah.
That's very bizarre.
That's, yeah.
That's weird.
Well, let's take how the other day I saw someone rank Battle of Ranskow out of Colossus a 10. So some people just have weird opinions.
Yeah.
That's fine. Everyone's got their own opinion. It's
But,
just
yeah.
odd. That's generally sort of as a general consensus thing.
Yeah.
That's a weird one to have.
It's just a very vanilla story.
Yeah.
Anyway, IMDb scores.
Yes.
Episode 1, 7. Episode 2, 6.7. Episode 3, 6.8. Episode 4, 6.9. I don't disagree with that necessarily.
No. It's around what I'd give it.
Yeah, I guess IMDb is slightly... It's strange because the lowest ones on IMDb tend to be around 6.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, instead of where they should be.
Well, yeah. Again, like with Rotten Tomatoes, depending on where you... It's more of a case-by-case. You have to read what is actually being said.
Yeah.
Than taking the aggregator, because the aggregator's a bit wonky, because all and sundry can do it, and if they're... You know, so it's hard to say.
Right. So the writer of The Creature from the Pit, obviously, is David Fisher.
Yeah.
Who also wrote The Stones of Blood, The Androids of Tara, and The Leisure Hive.
Woo!
I thought he did a pretty darn good job.
I agree.
Came up with an interesting concept. A lot of the flaws tend to come with the execution, but even then, I don't even have a big problem with that. I thought it was really good.
Same.
And it was fucking way better than The Leisure Hive.
Oh yeah.
By a million miles.
Oh yes.
It was he did a really good job with this, and I'm because of that, I'm now intrigued when we get to eventually The Stones of Blood and The Androids of Tara. Whenever we do that, which is probably a long way away, considering it's not on the worst list. It would be in the sort of upper tier apparently. Because those two stories tend to be like two of the more popular.
What if we hate them and turn out we're just like so the YouTubers?
I've heard The Stones of Blood is quite a polarizing story because it mixes gothic horror and sci-fi, and some people that are fans of gothic horror don't like that it turns into sci-fi.
But some of the best gothic horror is sci-fi. I point people to Frankenstein. Anyway, that's a topic.
Anyway. And of course, script editor was Douglas Adams again. This time, because the tone wasn't all over the place, the comedy actually fit, and it was really funny.
Like the fact when the Doctor is trying to hang on with onto a nail he put into the wall or whatever, or a peg, and he gets a survival guide out and he's like, damn, it's in Portuguese, puts that in his hand, grabs another one out and says how to learn Portuguese quickly or something like that.
And also the fact that his magic number is 7 billion whatever.
Yeah.
That was
Very
great.
funny.
That was so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, Douglas Adams is always great. And guess who else is always great? Christopher Barry.
Yes.
He also directed The Daleks, The Rescue, The Romans, The Savages,
Yes.
The Power of the Daleks,
Ooh.
The Demons, The Mutants, Robot, and The Brain of Morbius. And of course, this is his last one, The Creature from the Pit. He is incredible.
Yeah.
He's really, really good.
Really good director,
Yeah. Especially Power of the Daleks is like the way it directs around the Dalek is so good.
Yeah, well I love, the cinematography in this, you could tell he was on the back foot with budget and time. Yeah, he made everything look so rich and used something that I love, which all directors should do, visual storytelling.
With the mirrors and the going through the walls. And
like you get little character ideas, you get ideas of the world purely just because of the framing of certain objects.
Yeah.
And brilliant.
If we're going on just on what Christopher Barry added to this story, 10 out of 10. He was brilliant.
Absolutely.
He was incredible. As a director, he would fit in with the new series. He's that good.
Yeah, if he was still around, he would be like Graham Harper.
Yeah, exactly. He's great. Brilliant. And music, Dudley Simpson. I didn't notice it all that much, but when I did notice it, it was good.
Yeah.
Transition between the scenes really nicely.
Yes,
Yeah. I thought he did a really good job.
I think so.
Yeah. Right. Now we're getting on to the trivia.
Trivia.
This was the first story of season 17 to be produced, though it was the third to be broadcast. This makes it the first story produced with Lalla Ward as Romana 2, replacing Mary Tan, with David Brierley providing the voice of K9, replacing John Neeson.
Yes.
In David Fisher's original script, Lady Adrasta was Queen Adrasta, whose name was meant to be to the stars in Latin. This was changed by Douglas Adams. Christopher Barry is said to have differences of opinion with both Tom Baker and Lalla Ward regarding their characters and dialogue during the filming of this story. This, plus frequent technical problems, led to his departure from directing on Doctor Who.
Oh, how interesting. Despite not agreeing with what's being done, he still did a fucking incredible job.
Yeah.
That is a testament to a profession.
But the thing is, the arguments came over the dialogue, not the camera work.
Yeah.
And the blocking and all that. The phallic appearance of Erato's proboscis caused uncontrolled laughter in the studio, forcing the producers to add a pair of pincers to the creature of the night.
Oh, brilliant.
Lalla Ward disliked how her dress echoed that worn by Mary Tam in the Bride Boss operation and felt that the story was tailored for that incarnation. I definitely noticed it straight away. I was like, that's a very strange thing for her to be wearing.
Yeah.
A clip of this story was used in the documentary Synth Britannia, first broadcast on BBC 4 in 2009.
Cool. I bet it was that clip.
A number of the Doctor's old costumes appear on the TARDIS hat stand. His coats from the Seeds of Doom and the Talons of Wayne Chiang are two of these.
I saw that. Also his original jacket, robot on these.
Erato was one of the group of goddesses called the Muses, specifically the muse of erotic poetry. Significantly, her name means lovely.
Cool.
According to Doctor Who magazine, Sian Phillips was asked to play Lady Adrasta. Lady Adrasta was inspired by Andromeda, a figure in Greek legend who attracted a sea monster which plagued her homeland.
Yeah.
So that's mirroring where she gets the creature from.
Yeah.
I thought it felt like a very traditional story.
Yeah, it was clearly evoking classical mythology.
Yeah. Chloris came from chlorophyll, the green pigment it found in most vegetation.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Torvin was inspired by Fagin from Oliver Twist.
I said that. I said this reminds me of Oliver. I was on that.
The original script was conserved with Adrasta's attempts to claim the TARDIS for herself. K9 eventually takes Adrasta away in the TARDIS, returning her cowed and defeated at the story's conclusion. Upon initially being thrown into the pit, the Doctor is attacked by Helen, a former member of Adrasta's team of engineers. In the final episode, a battle fleet from Tithonius arrives, threatening to destroy Chloris with a photon missile. Erato and the Doctor travel into space in Erato's ship, and the Tithonian weaves in a spacesuit for the Doctor, enabling him to reach the missile and disarm it. It sounds like a very Tennant story.
Yep. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Just, I can imagine the orange spacesuit.
Yes, of course, yeah.
This is Terry Walsh's final appearance in the series, having appeared in various roles since 1966, as well as acting as fighter ranger and stud double for both John Pertwee and Tom Baker.
Ah.
Viewership. So this is coming off City of Death,
Which is the most
which had 16. Part 1, 9.3. So it's a big drop, but it's still incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still what modern television...
I just think it's just because City of Death is so incredible.
It's the pinnacle of cozy
Classic
Doctor
Who,
Who.
yeah. It's literally everyone was watching it because it was just so fun. But
it's
still,
kind of like not the same viewing figures, but in terms of the fact that a lot of people were watching it had that same vibe as Partners in Crime.
yes,
And how everyone was just like, oh, that's so much fun!
yeah.
And then obviously...
Although I think City of Death is definitely a lot more popular.
Oh, well, it's threefold, probably.
Yeah, because it's in like the top 10 DWM, so...
Yeah. It's just in terms of the fact that in the public zeitgeist, there's like Tom Baker at his peak versus David Tennant at his peak, you know?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Very, I do see what you mean.
And the sort of height of their popularity.
But part 1 got 9.3.
Yep.
Part 2 got 10.8.
Wow.
Part 3 got 10.2, and part 4 got 9.6.
All of those are great.
Yeah. They're just not City of Death.
Yeah, but nothing ever will be again.
Right. Conclusion and rating out of 10 for The Creature from the Pit.
What the fuck is the DWN on about? This is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. An interesting story that doesn't get too bloated with filler and unnecessary characters. The comedy fits perfectly. The Douglas Adams influence clearly works. The direction by Christopher Barry is fantastic. Tom Baker and Alan Ward are on top form. It's paced really well. It's maybe because it was coming off City of Death, which is the quintessential doing everything right.
Yeah.
That it's a big drop down. It's nowhere near as good as City of Death.
Yeah.
But it's still very, very good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it 6.5 out of 10. Easily sit down and watch it.
I feel like 6.5 is like the fun score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's... Because on some scores, 6 may seem low, but in this case, 6.5 is very high.
Yeah.
Because because 7, 8, 9, and 10 are what I consider getting really good, great, amazing.
I think you gave Skill Reunion a 7 because it's really good.
Yeah.
And then you gave Girl in the Fireplace a 9 because it's really good.
And then there's something that's coming that'll get a 10 eventually.
I thought The Creature from the Pit was a very fun story. I think coming off Nightmare of Eden, it's strange because we watched it in the wrong order.
Yeah.
But I think this is definitely an improvement on it. This felt like what Nightmare of Eden should have been in terms of its tone.
Yes.
I thought that there was very little for me to dislike about it. It's never going to be one of my all-time favourites or anything.
No.
But overall, I really don't think it deserves the hate it gets.
Not
I
at
think
all.
this is actually quite an underrated episode.
I think so.
And I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Fantastic. Well deserved, I think.
I think it's not quite as good as, but I think it's in the same league as Colony in Space, where it's just it's got a few flaws, but it's a really enjoyable story.
Yeah, I think I give Colony in Space a 7.
Yeah, I give it a 7.5.
7, yeah, because Colony in Space, just John Pertwee, Roger Delgado, always is going to boost something up for me.
Yeah.
Plus, I find that story, that sort of socio-political story, just a bit more engaging.
Yeah, I do too.
But that's apples and oranges.
Yeah.
This is still a very, very good story, and I strongly recommend people to rewatch it and watch it for the first time.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of the commenters didn't like this one.
Yeah.
So that's...
Tell us why.
Tell us why. Is it worse than Hellbent?
No.
No way. It's
Not even close.
1,000 times better than Hellbent. I watched this 100 times over watching Hellbent. Right. I guess that means it is now time for us to defend an episode. So this time, we're going to be defending against Hellbent, The Eaters of Light.
Yes.
From Series 10.
Yes.
So.
Face the Raven, this isn't.
No. But is it in the Forest of the Night?
No.
No.
It's...
hang on. I would have to read the paragraph first.
Oh, of course, sorry. Who commented it?
Didn't quite write down the name, but I'm sure I'll put it on the screen, hopefully.
Yeah.
But this is what they said.
Was it CP? I think I may have been CP.
No, I don't think so. I can sort of see the half the thumbnail. I don't think it's CP.
Yeah, I've no idea.
Can't see.
Sorry.
We'll put it on the screen.
Yeah. Thank you for commenting.
Okay. Well, what was the Talking Crows about? Like they have no impact on the episode. And how is the scene still going on like hundreds of years later? Bill is once again going on about how she's gay once again. When the Doctor is away for 2 weeks or something like that, Nardole is like, oh hello, and shows no emotion to the Doctor's return. The light monster is a horrible bit of CGI. The story is badly paced and badly acted and badly written. It's shame that this episode was written by the same person who wrote Survival. For me, it's the worst episode of New Who.
Interesting.
Well, this is a strange one because I barely remember... I remember what it's about, but in terms of viewing, this is for me one of the least engaging New Who stories, but I don't think I would say it's one of the worst.
I was never upset by it.
It was just boring.
I find it a very passive experience because I rewatched all of Series 10 quite recently, and it's probably the weakest of Series 10 because I think Emperors of Mars is just only slightly above because it's just a lot of fun.
I think Live the Land commits more sins, but it is more watchable at least.
Because it starts with that really
It's quite an engaging episode, whereas Eaters of Light is very boring.
Yeah, in terms of
But I don't think it's crap though. It's alright, it's just so mediocre.
No, I
think the main problem with it is it's really disappointing because it's Rona Munro coming back after writing Survival. And it's just she wrote such a forgettable story. It's such a shame because it's
it felt kind of dismissive. It's just I'll just get it over with.
This is the first time the classic writers come back to write a New Who story, and it's just really disappointing.
We should figure out resurrection technology and bring Bob Holmes back.
Yeah.
He'd probably hate New Who.
But I'd love to see his reaction to Series 2 and Series 6.
I'd love to see his reaction to Heaven Sent.
Ooh. Yeah, anyway. We won't waste time.
Rest in peace, Bob Holmes.
But comparing Eaters of Light to Hellbent, the first thing I will say about Eaters of Light compared to Hellbent that I think is far stronger is the Doctor. I think the Doctor in Eaters of Light is really fun. And that's because he's basically playing Series 8 Capaldi.
Yeah.
Against Nardole, and that is really fun.
Also, one thing I will give Hellbent over Eaters of Light is the direction.
Yeah.
To try and, for the sake of fairness and trying to support your argument, I think the direction of Hellbent... Oh no! No, that's in our favour. That's in our camp. No, it's not. What am I saying? We're defending Eaters of Light, aren't we? I'm getting so confused. They're both bad episodes. But you know what I mean. The direction of Hellbent is better than Eaters of Light.
But that's pretty much the only thing that's better.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you're invoking more reaction because Eaters of Light it's very easy to switch off when you're watching Eaters of Light.
But the flip side of that is, I personally, the reason why I would not even put Eaters of Light close is because it elicited no emotional response from me, which in and of itself I consider a bad thing for this show to do. But this wasn't a finale. This wasn't an opener. This wasn't a significant episode in terms of character development.
It was definitely
it was a filler.
Yeah.
It was the 42.
It had the stinker spot as well.
Yeah.
The fear her spot, and the Forest of the Night spot. It was bound to be shit.
It's very bland, but I went into it not expecting anything of it, and even then, it's very mediocre. It starts mediocre, it continues mediocre, it ends mediocre, but I didn't feel like it had wasted my time.
Yeah.
I was like,
but the thing is, my feelings on the Eaters of Light are very similar to episodes like the Battle of Ranskoor Rav Kolos.
Very similar, yeah.
Like Arachnids in the UK.
Yeah.
Just very like Time Heist. I'm not a big fan of Hyde. It's a bit of a controversial one, but like those episodes are kind of, for me, sit around the very mediocre spot where I'm not very positive on them, but not very negative.
Yeah, no, I'm the same, where it's kind of like a 4.5 to a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, it's around about there. Bit of a stinky rating, but it's not terrible.
Like, I wouldn't ever rush out to show someone or rewatch Eaters of Light, but my goodness, if I was strapped to a chair and they told me, are you going to watch Eaters of Light or Hellbent? Eaters of Light, because then I could take a deep breath after it's over and move on and be like, okay, fine. Whereas Hellbent, I would just get sad.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh my goodness, I remember I wasted all this time. My escapism as a kid is ruined.
Yeah.
Like, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing is, when you look at Doctor Who as sort of like a story and you look at the main points of it, you can very easily skip Eaters of Light and not miss a thing.
Yeah.
Whereas if you skip Hellbent, you're actually skipping a crucial part of the story, and that's a big problem, is because Hellbent is such a bad story, it ruins the story as a whole. It ruins the story as a whole, whereas Eaters of Light, you could literally erase it from history and nothing would change.
Yeah. So it is inherently a bit of a weak episode because there's no character development, there's not a particularly clever story. There's some nice bits and pieces in there, but on the whole, it's not like, wow, I'm really engaged, this is really clever.
Yeah.
It's. I was thinking of this actually on the way here. It's kind of a precursor to Series 11.
Yeah.
Where it's that level of, it's fine. I put it on the same level as probably Kablam. Where Kablam probably is slightly above it.
Yeah.
But
Kablam's a better episode. I think Eaters of Light fails, especially with the ending. The ending is really flat. There is no, like, it just feels like it just ends and then that's it. It's like, huh?
Yeah, but
there's no tension.
For the sake of comparison, I'd put it sort of at, like, I could put this episode in Series 11 and I'd feel the same. Yeah. Except it would probably be worse because it wouldn't have the TARDIS team that I like.
Yeah.
But that's...
but going on that, they did bring up because one of the things that a lot of people didn't like about Bill in Series 10 was how the whole lesbian character was written, in the sense that in every episode they had to have her neglect a male because she's lesbian, and
it wasn't, because the issue was she wasn't a gay character. She was a character who was gay.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
It wasn't that being gay was just part of her personality. It was like, hey, see, we have a gay character. Now, I really like Bill as a companion.
So do I.
But I think Moffat kind of failed on that front, because gay people very often won't go up to people and just be like, hi, I'm gay.
Yeah, that's very strange.
And that's a stereotype. That's not
it's something that, like, you would expect if they were to say drunk.
Yeah.
And it just felt really awkward, just like, it always took me out of the episode, like Knock Knock, for example.
But because we're running short on time, to bring this to a point, to defend Eaters of Light against Hell Bent, I would rather the sort of wonky presentation of Bill's sexuality with the fun side of Bill there than Clara at her worst.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah, and if we're going to compare, because obviously that complaint by you, whoever wrote that, is obviously like looking at it from a sort of like, I don't know, political point of view. Compare it to Hell Bent, where they do the same thing but way worse, with like the whole, like the doctor kills and she general regenerates.
And not only the political thing, but then there's a joke that's completely out of nowhere.
Exactly. And the context is so awkward, and I think it's a lot worse than the Bill stuff.
It's the Bill stuff. Sure, is wonky.
Yeah,
but it never,
I think it's fairly inoffensive though.
It never annoyed me.
Yeah, it was just like oh, then it didn't need to be in there.
Pretty much every time it happened was basically a throwaway line.
And also I think this is also a consequence of the fact that this came at the end of the series. If this was one of the first episodes, and say you swap this with Knock Knock, Knock Knock would get the blame because it's the last one.
Yeah.
So it's kind
just
of
wearing people down with that repetitive nature. But again, it wasn't like it was constant.
Yeah.
It was maybe once an episode, but usually it was addressed and then moved on.
Yeah.
It wasn't something where it was just this constant thing of, hey. So imagine this, right? The script tells you, oh, Bill's wonderful. She's just as smart as the doctor. She's the doctor's equal, and constantly tells you this and shoves it in your face, gets really up close and personal like that, without actually demonstrating it properly. They just tell you. But imagine that, but for Clara, because that's what actually fucking happened. I do not like Clara. She is forced. And all the elements of Bill, the one element of Bill that is forced, I would rather take than Clara's entire character, who is forced.
Yep. Because Bill was better in one series than Clara was in 3.
Yes. Down with Hellbent. So basically, again with most of these defences, I personally find the episode inoffensive and a bit dull, but I would rather take that over damaging and personally offensive to making me wish for a long time it made me wish I'd never invested this much time into Doctor Who. And the fact that I helped run a Doctor Who channel shows that I really love the show, and that passion was killed by one episode because it was that bad. I just cannot say Eaters of Light is even close.
I remember Eaters of Light, after it finished, we messaged each other saying, well, that was a bit crap, but then we moved on and we never had to think about it again.
Yeah.
It's one you can just wipe away.
Whereas a lot of our message conversations when we talk about Doctor Who, we'll make one reference to Hellbent, and then for the next hour we're just ranting.
Yeah, we probably had like 200 negative conversations about Hellbent, and probably overall 2 conversations about the Eaters of Light.
And they were just meh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's basically it, really.
Yeah.
Anyway, now we're going to find out what we're watching next time. What are you hoping for?
Call in.
As far as I'm aware, I think we've got 2 Troutons left. About 3 Pertwees.
Yep.
About 6 or 7 Toms. About 4 Davisons.
Right.
2 Collins and 4 McCoys.
Colin.
Davison.
I don't know if I can stomach a Davison.
It's not a Davison.
No.
It's another Tom.
Of course it is.
I mean, the odds were there. It was going to be.
Yeah.
This is the season 15 finale. The Invasion of Time.
Right.
It's a Gallifrey story.
That's right.
So, is it going to be better or worse than Arc of Infinity?
Well, I'm going to have a bet now it's going to be better.
Hopefully.
God, I hope so.
I mean, it's got Tom and Leela in it, so surely.
Hope so. Anyway, I guess we will see you all then.